We're here with Staff Sergeant Volmer, a member of the Army Reserve Marksmanship Program, and a question sometimes arises if competitive shooting develops bad habits. A common concern amongst some is things like mandatory unloading and showing clear after stages of fire, and whether that's going to lead any issues in a combat environment or some kind of real world environment. Staff Sergeant Volmer, tell us, how much combat experience have you had personally?
I spent 15 months in Afghanistan, Kunar and Nuristan provinces with the 173rd Airborne Brigade in 2007 and 2008.
Okay, so you had some real world combat experience and deployments there. In terms of training, what other training venues have you had within the military?
My shooting education within the United States Army, I went to a squad designated marksman course when I was a very young private, and then immediately went to the U.S. Army Sniper School at Fort Benning, Georgia. After returning from Afghanistan, I was an instructor for a long-range marksmanship course throughout U.S. Army Europe. This is my second year as a shooting member of the U.S. Army Reserve's international combat team, and I've spent 6 years as a drill sergeant instructing brand new privates how to operate a rifle.
Okay, so now you're rounding that vast experience out with some of the competitive shooting. We had a chance to shoot an event in Canada, the CAFSAC matches, and one of the portions of that event was a series of surprise matches. Go ahead and give us a little rundown about how that went.
It was the very last day, and there was 4 separate matches. And the entire staff that puts on CAFSAC was very secretive about the match. They literally had tarps around the shooting scenarios so no one could see or plan for what the stages of fire were going to be. So they would bring you inside the tarp, and you had your battle load, the assigned amount of ammunition for either your Beretta M9 or an M4 carbine, or both. One stage was actually rifle and pistol. And you would begin the match, and it was a maze, typical of what you might see in, IDPA or a 3-gun, some kind of action shooting match.
But in contrast, did you have any idea about the number of targets or location or no shoot targets or anything else?
No, absolutely not. Each scenario had a mission within it, to make it applicable for combat. So you would go in and retrieve an ammo can, or you would have to remember a 4-digit number and shoot a target that corresponded with that 4-digit number, or rescue a dummy, or retrieve sensitive items, or a map or a radio or something that had been left behind. So there was the shooting, but you also had to keep your mind on what your primary task was while inside of the stage.
Okay. So as you're maneuvering this area that you had no idea what the layout was, no idea where or if targets were available, no shoots and all the rest of it. Prior to that, having shot a number of more static square range exercises with the several hundred competitors at that event, what were any notable bad habit problems that were discovered during this now more realistic surprise scenario?
On a static, just regular KD range, everybody, as soon as you're done firing, your magazine is expended, put the weapon on safe, remove the source of ammunition, the magazine, check and make clear, right? Prepare for the next stage, whatever you got to do, score targets. The same with pistol ranges as well. So with these unknown stages, we were actually going through it, and we weren't sure when the stage ended. So we would go through, and the weapon would constantly be in a state of readiness, and at the very end, they would finally say, okay, stage complete. And then we would drop magazine, show clear, reholster. Okay. So we didn't have any issues of guys running through, or females running through, finishing the stage, or not finishing the stage and dropping their magazine, before it was finished. I think the added suspense, or, the added task, or not knowing when it ended and when it was finished, kept everyone's mind in the game, and kept them from doing some of those competition faux pas that, we might do on a square range.
Right. I think it's probably more of it's applicable where it's applicable, but that doesn't mean you're going to become a robot and automatically do it if you're not needing to.
Right, absolutely. So on a KD range, a rifle match like the one we shot in Canada, when the stage is done. When you can clear your weapon, make safe, start prepping for the next match.
And then do so.
Absolutely. Something like that where there's just so many unknowns and you're not sure when the stage ends, if there's any more targets you need to engage, if you need to keep moving forward. You just stay ready until they tell you.
So was there any incidents of people bad habit themselves into doing that out of when it wasn't appropriate?
Not that I've seen. Specifically with those matches in Canada, I think we're over 300 competitors, and I didn't see or hear of one soldier, finishing the stage before the stage was finished.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.